is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Bristol Flyers Podcast, proudly powered by WebGains. My name's Joel Osborne. We are back with producer Fred over there, pushing the buttons. Fred, how's it going?
Hello, very well.
Great stuff. And you might be wondering where my partner in crime, Sam Hardy, is, because it's just me in the studio this week. And that is because, unfortunately, Sam is unwell. And we are very pleased to be joined by a player who last year combined his first team commitments with playing for the men's second team, but this year is now solely focused on the British Basketball League season. We're very pleased to be joined by none other than Pasquale Landolfi. Pasquale, how's it going?
Hi Joe, I'm good, thanks.
Pasquale, back with the Flyers for the second season, and like we say, focusing now purely on the British Basketball League campaign. How does it feel to be back?
Yeah, it feels great. Learning every day. Even though I've been in this sort of setup for a while now, it's actually my third year in the setup, I still feel like I'm learning a lot every single day, and I'm becoming more confident as a player the more I stay in this sort of setup, and the more experience I get, I feel way more confident. So yeah, it's really good to be back and I'm really enjoying it.
And to be doing it solely, without having your second team commitments as well, like what kind of adjustments are you having to make now going into this season? Now you can put your sole focus into the first team shenanigans.
Yeah, so obviously the training has reduced a little bit because obviously I'll be training both teams. So I always train my hardest every time I train. So it's not like now I could put my full effort in the first team squad. I always put my full effort, even if I know that I have practice later on. But I think just mentally, it's more the mental side rather than the physical side. I think mentally, I can sort of prepare myself more. Try to learn about things more because I have more time for it to settle in. I don't have to think about other things. So more the mental preparation and more of that side, I think definitely changed compared to last year.
Yeah, and you're already playing more minutes this season than you were last season with the first team. But also having to be, you talk about the mental side of the game, but having to be like mentally ready for that situation. Like you never know when your name could get called up off the bench, and being mentally prepared. And on the game on Thursday on Sky Sports, I mean, you had 5 points in 5 minutes. So talk us through the that ability to always be ready to go. Like what sort of preparation do you have to do?
So I don't know when my name calls up, but I know, like, I always read the scout, always prepare myself because anything can happen in a basketball game. And mentally, I just to always be strong, always be confident in yourself. So when my name got called up, I wasn't nervous or anything. I sort of got on the court, and obviously we practice a lot, and we scout the team a lot. So throughout practice, I sort of really pay attention in the detail. So when it comes to the court, I'm not really thinking, it's all instinct. So when it came to, I don't know, taking that shot, the amount of times that we ran that play, or sort of I've been playing with Les for a while now, or like just like little things like that, it's just second nature for me. I catch the ball, I saw a split second that I was open, and I just shot the ball, and then it happened to be in. I mean, it was my second shot in the game. I didn't get many touches, but I practiced my shot quite a bit. So it was just, I just went on, and I just thought I need to make an impact, even if I'm not on for long. I just try my best, work hard, and see what happens. And luckily something came out of it. So
well, you've been with the team for just under a month now for this season. Like, talk us through how maybe the new guys are settling into the team, because we want to get them on the podcast at some point throughout the season. We've been trying to track them down, but as you can imagine, it's hard to get them all on the podcast at once. So we are going to get them on the show for the next few weeks in the season. But just talk us through some of the characters on the team this year.
Yeah, we got some funny characters. Like we're like trying to gel as a team. Like we're like going out and like for to eat and like do different things, like video games together, like trying to like sort of like build these friendships. And yeah, it's just a fun group of guys. Like Brad is funny, like Tijon, like Kitty, everyone, like we're sort of like becoming like quite close as a group, which is also like will correspond to the court, which is always a good thing. But yeah, we're just sort of getting used to like the Americans to like English life in a way. Obviously, there's like a few things that they're not used to, so us being there helping them out obviously helps them a lot. And yeah, it's quite funny some of the things that like how different some of the things are compared to the States. So like when we say water, they think we say water, and they obviously don't understand what we're saying.
Apparently in American it's got a D in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah, so just like little things like that, it's just funny. But yeah, I think we're all on the same page at the moment.
Great stuff. Of course, this is the second time we've had you on the podcast. We had you on last season alongside Nassim Lajimi. And I want to sort of focus in on you in particular as a player, because obviously you joined the Flyers under 18s, you came up through, you've been into the men's second team, now solely with the first team. How old were you when you first started playing? Because obviously if you listen to the last time that Pasquale came on, obviously you'll know that you and I are both from the same hometown in Dorchester.
Yeah, Dorchester. So I joined. So I played for my dad's team, Dorchester Tigers. That's what it's called back in the day. So yeah, I left Tigers after I finished my GCSEs, and we as a family we moved to Hereford, and I joined Flyers with Coach Bourne for the first season with AJ, Edu, and Corey. So that was the first time sort of playing with Corey in under 18s. So I was about 16 years old, and then I played another season after that. I played with Marvin, Dinnell, like loads of like various Flyers players, and then suddenly I applied for a university spot at Bristol because I thought I like the setup basketball wise, and I can sort of get my academics side as well with Bristol Uni. It was a no-brainer for me. So obviously I applied for Bristol, got in, and started playing Division 2, and then started playing there. Played there for about 2 years. COVID year, I couldn't do anything unfortunately because Division 2 wasn't going on. I think it was only Division 1, and at the time, I'm not going to say the word, but the British Basketball League obviously was going on. So
very well avoided there, mate. Very well avoided.
And then the year after that, I got joined in the first team, and obviously juggling with the second team. And yeah.
Are you still studying at Bristol University now?
Yeah, so I'm still in my second year of my masters. My masters is a 2-year course, so it's not as demanding as it was last year. But obviously, I still in my off time, I still go there, study, do the stuff that I need to do. So. Yeah, still doing that.
I wanted to chat to you a little bit about your basketball family, because you say you used to play for your dad as a kid. You've also got brothers that play as well. And your brother this year is part of the Flyers second team in Div 2, right? Yeah,
so Giuseppe actually joined. Giuseppe is my brother. He actually joined under 16s, so he didn't join under 18s. He's 2 years younger than me. So he joined under 16s, and then so he's done the pathway, done through under 16s, under 18s, and then he got selected to play for Cardiff because he got a place at Cardiff University. Didn't really enjoy it there. I mean, I don't really know all the ins and outs of it, but he loved the time that he played in Flyers, and obviously it's quite difficult for him to commute to Bristol from Cardiff, and he was like, I really want to play for Flyers. So this year he was like, I'm going to commute. I'm going to make the effort to come. And he's playing in Division 2. I can watch some of his games and stuff like that. And it seems like he's doing all right. He scored 37 points in his first game. So
I was going to say, I've got it here on my notes. Not bad first game for him. It was like 98-94 away to Derbyshire, but Giuseppe, 37-point performance on his debut. He's giving you a run for your money here, Pasquale.
Yeah, well, obviously. Different teams, different years, so I don't know.
I was going to save this question for the mailbag, but the team was in touch with a question, and he actually asked who would win in a one-on-one versus you and your brother. What do you think?
I've always beaten my brother a one-on-one. Even now, like the last one-on-ones, I always beat him. So he's going to obviously say another thing because but I know for a fact that I'll beat him one-on-one.
Great stuff. We need to talk about something that you've introduced to the players over the last couple of years of the team, and that is Scopa.
It's not Scopa.
Scopa.
Yeah, Scopa.
So a lot of people usually of like away games, your standard team, they might get the Uno out, they'll play a bit of video games maybe, but you've introduced Scopa to the team.
Yeah.
Scopa.
Yeah.
To the team. Talk us through it. What is Scopa?
So Scopa is a Italian card game.
He's got the cards as well. It's like he just pulled them out. It's like I asked him to bring the cards with him to the show.
So I've got them here. So far right now we haven't had many away trips, so I haven't sort of introduced it to this year's team. But last year's team, like Mike Miller, Brandon as well, Brandon Mayhem, like Corey and me, where we played it like literally every away game, and it's just such a fun game to play. And essentially it's like pretty similar to Uno, but it's got more rules, it's way more tactical, it's great fun. Like, I don't know if you can see some of the cards or anything like that.
Hold them up to camera 2 over there.
There
you go, hold them up there. He's bringing it down a little bit more. There you go.
These are some of the cards, so essentially the aim of the game is you need to collect as many cards as you can. There's certain rules, there's a lot of rules, so I won't go into all the ins and outs, but so basically you have certain cards that have certain ratings. So this is an 8, the woman is...
Hold it down a bit lower, bit higher, there
8,
you go.
And then, for example, this is a 5, the king is the 10, this is a 1.
This is amazing for the podcast listeners, by the way.
So essentially... You can look up online. I can't. It takes a while to explain, but essentially, if you have a card on the floor and it's on the table, and you pick up, you can only pick it up with the same card. So you pick it up and then you keep the cards to yourself. But you can also do loads of different things, like you can add them. So if you've got a 4 and there's like a 3 and a 1, you can pick up the 3 and the 1 with your 4, so that's 3 cards that you pick up. And then there's a point system, so you have dinari, which is a gold, so the team with the most golds gets a point. Then you've got primiera, which is a point system, so whoever's got most of like 7s, 6s, 5s get a point, and then whoever gets the most cards gets a point, and then each scopa is a point, and then there's one special card that everyone loves and everyone looks for, and it's called the Sette Bello, and this is the most important card of the game, because if you get this card, then you get a guaranteed point as well. So whenever you play the game, look at the rules, definitely look at it. It's great to play with your family or with friends as well, and it's just great fun. And me, Corey, last year, Corey, Brandon and Mike, we would play it all away, all the away trips. Glasgow, we played for at least 6 or 7 hours, and the trip was so quick for us, because all you were doing, you were just playing and playing and playing, and it was great fun. So there's rules online, so I would definitely advise going on it, because it's great fun, great little game.
Great stuff. Well, maybe next time I come see you, because I always see him at the back of the bus whenever they're on the away game. I always see him just playing Scopa and it getting super, super intense. And I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
but
very,
now,
very intense game.
Hopefully, I can pick up something. Fred, have you ever played Scopa?
No, but I was just looking it up. It's one of 3 major national card games in Italy, and the other 2 are Briscola and Tressetti. So what are those 2 like as well, Pasquale?
I'm not. I haven't really played much of those 2 games. Scopa, in my eyes, is the most famous one, because it's just the easiest card game to play. It's relaxing, you can do whatever, but Scopa is a great game. It gets very intense, and you can play with teammates as well, so you can play with 4 or you can play with 2. So it's a great game, but I don't really know much about the other games. So
amazing, great stuff. Well, hopefully, like you say, I'll come back at the back of the bus a bit later on in the season, and maybe you can just teach us how to play Scopa. Right, it's time for us to get to this week's news.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Before we get to this week's news, we want to say a huge thank you to our proud new podcast sponsor, WebGains.
Now, WebGains is an affiliate marketing network that make connections between retailers and those looking to promote their products in exchange for a commission.
And with the new British Basketball League season now underway, Sam, what connections are you most looking forward to seeing this season?
I'm looking for the connection between the 3 T's, Joel, Tevin, Tijon and Trajan. How about you, Joel? Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm looking forward to seeing Brad Green this season. I'm really excited to see him on the court in action. All 6'11" of him. But not only WebGains sponsors of the podcast, their company's logo, Sam, is proudly displayed on the front of our brand new home and away playing shorts this season, inspiring the team to make smarter connections on the court, just like they do for thousands of brands on their international affiliate network.
Now, if any of our listeners want to learn more about affiliate marketing and add it to their own marketing strategy, to search WebGains Bristol Flyers into Google to make smarter connections of your own.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
It's time to take a look at what's been going on around the league this week. It's been another busy week in the world of British basketball. We have to start by talking about the two games at the weekend. Well, let's start by talking about Thursday. London Lions away from home in front of the Sky cameras. Keely Johnson, 20 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 90% from the foul line. Tevin Ollison, TJ and Brad Green also in double figures. And Flyers actually took the lead going into the half in this game, but that third quarter is essentially where the damage was done, wasn't it, Pasquale, in that third quarter?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously London's such a good team, but we're also a really good team as well. And obviously, we know bad things are going to happen, in a game, in every basketball game, but it showed our spirit, we want to fight back, we never give up. It could easily been a 30-40 point game London have done with other teams, so we never backed down. So it was tough. Sometimes it might happen in the third quarter, but we managed to keep it going. So
yeah, it definitely was I know it was a defeat, but there were promising signs coming out of that game. And then let's talk about Sunday's Saturday. It was Saturday, wasn't it? Saturday's game against Leicester. I lose track of what day of the week it is because there's so many games going on. But of course, Saturday at home against Leicester Riders, and this one from the get-go. This was a tough game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tough game, but again, we obviously prepared for it the whole week. But yeah, again, we were in a pretty bad situation by the end of the first. And we just sort of moved on from it after the first quarter. We just thought, what is what it is, and let's just keep fighting. And we actually got back into a 9-point game, and that's sort of a sort of thing that we want to carry on going. We're just not going to give up. We're just going to keep going. It doesn't matter how far the points, how much points they've scored on us or whatever. When you're going to play Flyers, we're going to keep coming back. So
yeah, Coach Rob got ejected in the second quarter. But when you guys narrow it down to a 9-point game and their coach gets ejected, and being 9 points down, considering it was 37-10 after the first 10 minutes, did you guys feel like there was a window of opportunity there, or maybe an opportunity missed to sort of get back or maybe retake a lead in that game?
Yeah, of course. Obviously the momentum was swinging in our direction. But obviously, what happens in basketball games, things happen, and obviously we've learned from our mistakes. This week of practice, we've made sure we're going to learn from our mistakes, and it's just part of the game, and it's just a learning process at the end of the day. So we just have to keep going forward, keep moving forward, which is also, it's quite easy to take a lot of negative things from a game. You think, 37 points in the first quarter, but we got back to a 9-point game and we had a chance to win it. And so you can also take positive out of the game. And I think if you look too much at the negatives, this is when it can affect people as well, and that can cause other losses. I think it's important to also look at the positives and just learn from what we've done. Yeah,
100%. I think obviously a big chance to bounce back this weekend now. It's Sheffield Sharks on Friday, and at the time of recording I think there's 30 tickets left for that one, so if you want to get tickets to watch Flyers at SGS again, head to bristolflyers.co.uk, and then obviously on Sunday it's the Southwest Derby once again down in Plymouth. How's preparations been going for these two games this weekend?
Yeah, it's going good. Obviously it could be quite easy for us just to put our heads down throughout the week and still think about the losses, but we've sort of picked ourselves up. So look, we've got 2 games now, we've got to focus on these 2 games. We've got to go through the scout, go through what coaches plan for us, and then we just got to do our job and then just keep going forward. So we've been doing really good this week, so yeah.
Amazing. Right, other news going on around the league this week. Of course, October is Black History Month here in the UK, and the Flyers have teamed up with the British Basketball League to offer a unique advertising opportunity to a small black-owned business in Bristol. So every team in the league is nominating a team to receive free LED advertising during the televised games on Sky this month. So if you know of any businesses that in the city that deserve this opportunity, you can let us know on socials. We're at Bristol Flyers on all major platforms. Speaking of TV coverage, of course, off the back of that one, there's 2 further Flyers games being selected for live coverage on Sky Sports. So Newcastle Eagles versus Bristol Flyers on Friday, December 8th. And that game tips off at 7:45. Also, our trip to Sheffield on Friday, December 22nd. Everything else is on the British Basketball League YouTube channel. The only thing I think you can't do with the Sky ones is watch that outside of the UK. So every time a game, if you're a supporter overseas wanting to watch a Sky game, we do put highlights out on a condensed game on our YouTube channel, but I don't think you can watch the Sky games live in the UK, of course, because they're sold to Sky essentially. That should be super exciting. And of course, the league this season is a New Look Sky panel. It's got New Look build-up show hosted by Jeanette Kwadji alongside Ovi Soko. New lead commentary team of Todd Harris and Azania Stewart. Obviously, the broadcasts have taken a massive step up this season. Pasquale, have you noticed that as a player when you watch games back, like the difference in the broadcast quality and on not only the Sky games, but also the games that are on YouTube as well?
Yeah, no, I think it's really good what they're doing. Like, love like the new platform and everything else. Like, I think it's really impressive, and I enjoy it. So.
Yeah. So all the non-Sky games, so the YouTube games, are essentially broadcast from the league's studio up in Ealing in West London. And I saw a comment on a YouTube, one of our previous episodes, and it was from a fan called Russ Williams, and their comment said, I was just rewatching the Plymouth game from opening night. Where is your commentary, Joel? Well, I think now's a good time to talk about it, because obviously some of you would have noticed that Gareth and I are no longer commentating on the Flyers' home games this season, but I can confirm I will still be commentating on British Basketball League games this season. My first one being on Saturday. I'm commentating on Surrey Scorchers versus Cheshire Phoenix this Saturday. I think it's a 5 p.m. tip-off. Is it a 5 p.m. tip-off?
It is 5 p.m.
It is a 5 p.m. Cheers for that, Fred. Other news also, you notice that Gareth hasn't been commentating on games, but Gareth and I will both be back commentating the ENBL games this season, all 7 of them. Starting this Wednesday, and they'll be available to watch right here if you're watching on the YouTube channel on Bristol Flyers TV on YouTube. They'll be free to air. We're doing, for the away games, we are doing a Robbins TV style broadcast. So I don't know if you've seen Robbins TV, Bristol City, when they stream their games. Thanks to the producer Fred over there, the whole team at Brown Fox, we're able to do pre-game build-up right here in the studio for our game on Wednesday against Spartak Plaven. It'd be history for Flyers, because we've spoken about, it's always been an ambition for coach to want the team to play European basketball, and this Wednesday coming is going to be the first chance to see Flyers on the international stage. And no matter what the result on the day, it's just going to be a historic moment for the club. The very first European game for Bristol Flyers. And at the time of recording, I think Newcastle Eagles are literally playing against the Lithuanian team in their group right now. Oh, there we go. 32 all right now with 7 minutes to go in the second. Great stuff. Right, and that was all the news. So I guess it's time for us to get to the mailbag.
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, Pasquale, time for us to wrap up this week's episode of the podcast. And as usual, we have asked fans to send in their best questions. We had loads of questions come through, particularly on Instagram this week. And we're going to ask some of the questions to you now. So, first question I've got here, Owen Parker, shout out Owen on Instagram. He says, do you miss doing double duty between the first and second team, or do you prefer focusing fully on the first team programme?
I love playing basketball, that's one thing for sure. I love playing for both teams. Obviously, I had different roles in both teams, but I think it is nice to focus on one team. Like, obviously, it's not going to be the same every time. You're not going to put 100% effort in both teams if you're playing for two teams. You know you're going to put effort in one team more than the other. So I think now having that focus definitely like gives me clarity, and I know what focus I can put all my attention to. So I think personally that will make me better as a player. But obviously I enjoyed my time playing with the Division 2 side, and yeah, it was a great experience. So.
That's a very diplomatic answer, mate. Well done. We've got loads of these are all like food questions here. I've got a question here. This one's from Liv Atkinson. Shout out Liv, because she is part of the cookie team, including Amy Atkinson and Liv Atkinson. They make the cookies. I got a funny story actually about Liv and Amy Atkinson. At the live audience episode of the podcast, end of last season, I got a little tap on the shoulder after we recorded the show, and it was only Amy Atkinson, and she literally gave me like a wooden spatula, and on the spatula, tied around like the neck of the spatula, was the secret recipe. I've still got it at home actually. I'll have to have a little look at it and see, but thanks for that. It's secret stuff. I've now got the formula to make those cookies. So producer Fred, have you got a question for Pasquale?
One question right back. Does it need to be a serious question?
You can ask whatever you like, mate.
So I've got a great one. If all real animals were the same size, who wins in a fight?
Great question. That's a great question.
There's some good answers about. I've heard a big range. I thought I'd get the Italian perspective.
All the same size. But what size is that same size?
We'll say 4 feet high. So if you've got a
snake, what about width?
They just need to be 4 feet high.
So it doesn't matter about width.
Is determined.
So it's relative to their width.
All right.
So like a hippo is a lot chunkier than like a duck.
Yeah.
Good analysis.
I reckon a lion would be pretty good.
A 4 foot lion. That's smaller than a regular lion, though.
Yeah, but I think they're still pretty vicious.
Yeah, but you got to think about all the other animals, though.
See, so mine and producer Dan's initial thought was ant. If you got an ant that's 4 feet high, think how strong it's going to be.
Yeah, but it's not going to do anything though, because it's not a predatory animal.
It can lift
a lion's got teeth; it could just bite for anything. So, but think about a lion versus an elephant. An elephant's going to be 4 foot tall. A lion's just going to eat the elephant alive even easier. Obviously, a lion's not going to eat an elephant in real life, but if it's 4 foot tall, we'll give it a go.
But my only point is, ants can lift 10 times their own body weight.
Yeah, but they're not going to.
They could just pick up the lion and throw it. It'd be like
it'll just pick it up and bring it to the colony, and that's it.
I think you also have to consider.
It's not going to eat the lion.
I think you also have to consider the temperament of the animal. So, like an ant's not very it's not a predator, like you say. It's like a lion. What's that?
If you annoy an ant, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean,
scorpion would be.
They can bite you, but that's about it. Do you know what I mean?
A scorpion's not an animal.
A 4 foot high scorpion would be pretty terrible.
Yeah, that'd be pretty vicious. Only the toughest questions asked here on the Bristol Flyers podcast. Right, I've got a final question. Oh, actually, a couple more questions. Ralph Thomas Edwards has been in touch. He says, what is the best Italian restaurant in Bristol?
For sure, Molto Buono on Park Street. For sure, it's the nicest Italian restaurant, closest that I've had to real Italian food in Bristol. So definitely give it a look. It's on the pastas, the pizza, everything about it. It's really good. Obviously, Pepe Nero's is up there as well. But Molto Buono is elite.
Final question. And this one has come through from our partners at the Sport Clinic. They've been in touch on IG with a question. Shout out to Phil, because he's been treating the players with massages this season, hasn't he? Soft tissue treatment.
Yeah, he's lifesaver. Like I went to him in the summer. I had a few issues. He helped me out a lot, and yeah, it's just doing a lot of soft tissue work as well. Like I had some problems with my calf, and just sorted it straight away. Like. Just before pre-season, I had this like quite bad, not bad strain, but I could feel it when I was walking around. Went to the sports clinic or Phil and sorted it straight away, and I was fine during pre-season. So huge lifesaver, definitely one of the best out there. So
yeah, and a great guy too. I actually had a chance to meet him a couple of games ago, I think it was, and obviously he's been a massive Flyers fan for like the last 4 years as well. So for him to now be helping the team, making an impact on performance is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so good.
It is great. I love the fact that he's part of the team now. Like, it's just, he's such a lifesaver. He's really good at his job. So, yeah, it's great to have him on board.
Great stuff. Well, he asks, this is a great question. Where's your favourite place in Bristol to go for a sports massage?
A sports massage? Oh, let me guess. The sports clinic.
There we go. Great stuff. Go check them out, by the way. Based in Downend, I believe, right?
Yeah. It's a nice little spot that he's got. It's great. yeah, really nice guy as well.
Amazing. Great stuff. And I think that is everything on this week's episode of the podcast. Pasquale, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, because I know you're super busy. So I really appreciate you coming down here into the studio. And next week, we are doing our ENBL-themed podcast ahead of our first game against Spartak Pleven. I will get that right one day before the game next week. But yeah, super exciting. We're going to, have a little offline meeting about what we're going to do for it. Don't forget, if you are liking the podcast, to leave us a rating and a review. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment in the comments section down there. We make sure we read out every single one we receive. We have to give a massive shout out to our partners at WebGains for sponsoring the Bristol Flyers podcast. But until then, we'll see you same time next week right here on the Bristol Flyers podcast.